the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
So it's the start. It is the start of a brand new week, a Monday. And to dull the throbbing pain that is a Monday, to distract ourselves from the giant bag of suck that is Monday, and to distract ourselves from the fact that Mondays suck big swinging hairy animal things that I can't mention by name on the radio and remain employed, I've kind of decided to do something a little bit different with Monday today, and perhaps a little bit different with Mondays moving forward if this works out. But Monday being what it is for a lot of people, the start of another week of work, I figure Monday, instead of cursing your life and the soul-destroying drudgery you're about to undergo for the next 5 days, might be a reasonable time to take a look at why we do some of what we do. A reasonable time to examine our motives for getting up and going into the daily grind. A reasonable time to say, what am I really trying to do here? What am I trying to achieve? What am I trying to accomplish? And hopefully this dulls the pain of the Monday. Because, look, gotta go to work. Gotta have a job. Gotta make a living. Gotta pay rent. Gotta pay your mortgage. Gotta pay the light bill. All the above has to be done. But why? Well, 9 times out of 10, people have someone in their life that in some way, shape, or form kind of depends on them. And examining the why of why we're putting ourselves through the aforementioned soul-destroying drudgery in the workplace might help us get a little bit more clear and might help us despise what we're doing with our lives a little bit less, don't you think? Being a hardworking individual that's busting your ass on the surface of things, ass busting is not really fun. I mean, a lot of people enjoy a good day's hard work, but that daily grind, which it will always become at some point and usually becomes that way on a Monday morning, that daily grind is a tough road to hoe. But I think it's easier if you consider the whys of why you're doing the things that you are. Probably because you want to do your very best you can to take care of the people that matter the most in your life. That tends to be the defining motivation for a lot of adults, I know, anyway. And maybe you don't have anybody that depends on you. Maybe you're just making your own way in the world. And then it becomes almost a little bit more pertinent to think about why you're doing what you're doing. 9 times out of 10, survival is the first thing that comes up. But a lot of people don't recognize or appreciate that, especially if they're doing something they enjoy or something that they can do that not a lot of other people can. Not only are you surviving, not only are you grinding away, not only are you working that 9 to 5, but you're defining your place in the world. You're establishing your worth. You're establishing your value, not only to the people around you, not only to society, but to yourself. Having an idea of who you are, your sense of yourself, your place in the world is a very important thing. And some people go through life without having it. And for those people, that's a little tough. That's a little sad. And I think that whether you realize it or not, what your place in the world is, who you are, what your identity is, the value that you bring to this planet that not everyone does, you've got some of that. And thinking about that, thinking about why you're doing what you're doing, thinking about what you offer on a Monday morning that is unique, that helps the world go around. You might love the company you work for. You might hate the company you work for. You might work for yourself. But in some way, shape, or form, if you are getting up, if you are putting your shoes on and you're walking out the door and you're going to some sort of job on a Monday morning, then you're helping the world go around in some way, shape, or form. And it's easy to discount that. It's easy to be like, oh, this job sucks and I hate it and I can't wait to quit. Yeah, it may very well suck. You might want to quit. You might be justified in wanting to quit. But you know what? You're contributing something to the world if you're working. You are creating value. You're not only working for your own survival, but you're creating something that you should be proud of. And maybe if we take some of that into our work week, into the week of aforementioned soul-destroying drudgery, maybe if we kind of think about, no matter how small it is, I'm a cog in a much larger machine. And without me being in place, some of this might not be the same. Without recognizing that you're creating value, just by the very nature of the fact that you're willing to work, that you're not willing to take handouts, that you're not willing to leech off of a welfare system. Just the fact that you're willing to get up and go work and create some value in the world. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that, especially as you get frustrated. And that frustration, if you have it on a Monday, if you're not happy with your status quo, if you're not happy with your place in the world, I want you to remember that you're creating real value by just getting up and doing it on a Monday. And try and take that into the rest of the work week. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Jamming on the one like Theo Huxtable. Days like this when I feel untouchable. I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta believe me. When I feel like I just can't make it through, I try to think, what would Cliff tell Theo to do? Man, sometimes it's just so hard to be a good person, to lift yourself up and try to...
iHeartRadio presents the Guns N' Roses Top 10. Number 10, Mr. Brownstone. Number 9, Don't Cry. Number 8, Live and Let Die. Number 7, Civil War. Number 6, Patience. Number 5, November Rain. Number 4, Knocking on Heaven's Door. Number 3, Paradise City. Number 2, Welcome to the Jungle. Number 1, Sweet Child of Mine. Hear more of Guns N' Roses right now on iHeartRadio at keyword Guns N' Roses.
Hey, you, what's that sound? I'm coming so loud from your radio dial. ADV getting down when you're rocking the jams. Here I am, going back once again. I'm ruling all city like...
People think that kids are the only ones that want to get out of the class at 3 o'clock every single day. No. Go see the teachers, okay, on a Friday at 3 o'clock. You see teachers stiff-arming kids on the way out to the parking lot, you know? Kids chasing me down. Mr. Blair, what can I do for extra credit? Jimmy, you got a 98% in my class, okay? Unless you got Salma Hayek or a bottle of Captain Morgan's in your backpack, I can't do anything for you. I had a kid who threatened to kill me one year because I gave him an F. This is 100% true story. Kid threatened to kill me because I gave him an F. Another teacher caught one of my students writing "Kill Mr. Valet" in his weekly planner. In the section labeled weekly goals and objectives. And the school was freaking out, you know. They didn't know what to do about it. They kept asking me if I felt threatened. And I'm like, why? This kid hasn't met any of his goals and objectives all year.
Yeah. Finding a a sense of value in what you do, finding your place in the world, I can't think of anybody. I cannot think of anybody that should hold their head up high more than a teacher that actually gives a crap on a Monday morning. It's a thankless grind, but I don't know. I've said it before. I will say it again. It's not a particularly new thought, but I honestly believe that if there is one cure-all for what ails us as a country, as a society, as a world, it would be education. And it's not just, book learning, facts, figures, all the above. Education, hopefully what an education is doing. And I tell this story all the time. But hopefully what an education is doing is giving a sense of possibility. See, there's an interesting thing that happened to me after going into work the same way after a little while. I'm no bleeding heart. And I'm of the opinion that you work. That's what life is about. You figure out what you're good at. You figure out how you can help the world go around, and you do it. Hopefully you manage to have a good time along the way. Hopefully you manage to provide for yourself and the people that matter the most along the way. But you're lucky enough, especially in this country, to have won the genetic lottery and been born into the civilized world, a place where if you want a job, if you want to work, if you're willing to put your nose to the grindstone, you can go do that. There's nothing stopping you. And that's kind of the high-minded attitude I tend to carry into the workplace on the ride in every morning, especially when I see people panhandling by the side of the road. Get a job, you loser, is the narrative that tended to run through my head an awful lot. And like I said, no bleeding heart. But aside from the 1 out of 3 homeless people that are panhandling, that happen to be our ex-military. I gotta love that, right? They're heroes. They are heroes. We salute our heroes. Unless they're by the side of the road panhandling because they got PTSD, in which case we toss them aside like used up toy soldiers. That's what America does. And I'm not saying you do it, but America. Our government does that. And for that reason, it's up to us to pick up the slack and do what we can to help those folks. Because they are, in fact, those that offered to put their life on the line to protect our freedom and to protect our lives. So we owe it to them, and we owe it to ourselves to do more than the government is doing for those folks. But that's neither here nor there. That's a bit of an aside. What happens is when I drive to work every single day, I pass the same corner with the same people panhandling on it. And my get a job loser narrative would run through my head on a regular basis, on a daily basis, until one day, I see a kid doing the same thing. I don't know, 10, 11, 12, preteen probably is what I'm guessing. And I suddenly realized that this child is growing up thinking that's what you do. You get out on the street corner and you beg for money. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and judging by the fact that the kid didn't have shoes, that he probably didn't have a car. He probably doesn't get out a whole lot. He probably doesn't go beyond the sort of, 2 or 3 square mile area where he lives. Not much of a world view. Well, I kind of live in this area. And when I need some money, I go beg on that corner when it's not being taken up by someone else. That is something that I believe education can combat. Giving a kid a sense of possibility, giving a kid a sense that maybe there's more out there for him or her than that little four-walled world that they're living in. And I think that's what education can do when it's done right. That's what education could possibly do. I think a kid with an education, with a sense of possibility, with an idea of what can happen in this world if you apply yourself, or just an idea that there's more out there than what you know, that kid, less likely to rob a liquor store. On the other side of the world, that kid is less likely to strap a bomb to himself or herself. So,